On a security guard in Maharashtra assaulted and beaten because he could not speak Marathi. How much is too much? And finally, in our viral watch, we're taking you through news on the big feat by our Indian Navy. They've managed to bust 2,500 kgs of drugs in the ocean. Visuals of that's coming. As always, the headlines first. Union Home Minister Amit Shah comes down heavily on the opposition over Waqf Bill, says not even one non-Muslim will enter your Waqf property. Key NDA allies TDP and the JDU to vote in favour of the Waqf Amendment Bill. They've supported the centre fully. All India Muslim Personal Law Board to be challenging the Waqf Bill in court. They're all set to hold a nationwide protest condemning the bill. Karnataka High Court orders suspension of Rapido and other bike taxi services in the state of Karnataka. They've been given 6 weeks' time. And in a rude shock to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, the ED now has they've been allowed by the Karnataka High Court to pursue a case against Siddaramaiah in the Muda issue. Tamil Nadu Assembly unanimously adopts resolution asking the centre to retrieve the Kachitivu island from Sri Lanka. Pakistan violates ceasefire in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch. Indian Army retaliates. And Trump to impose sweeping tariffs, escalating global trade tensions, calls it Liberation Day for all Americans, believes reciprocal tariffs will help United States businesses boom. Israel announces expansion of military operation in Gaza to seize large areas of land, ask residents to leave. Israel now looking to capture parts of Gaza. All right, let me take you through our top story here. Coming in from Karnataka, of course, the state is aggrieved over price rise. Several hikes that have been announced by the Karnataka government, and we see the BJP taking this opportunity to protest vehemently against the Congress government in the state. They've launched a sit-down protest all-nighter in Bengaluru's Freedom Park. And those are visuals that we bring for you right from Freedom Park, even as I speak. These are live images and visuals of BJP members in Karnataka who are holding this dharna to condemn the Congress government over rising cost of living in the state. BJP mounting pressure on the Siddaramaiah-led government, accusing it of burdening people with a series of price hikes. In fact, what we know is BJP leaders led by State President Vijayendra currently are in a sit-in protest. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, meanwhile, while Vijayendra is carrying out this big protest, the Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is currently in Delhi. Siddaramaiah is right now in Delhi to inaugurate the Karnataka Bhavan. Be meeting Rahul Gandhi tomorrow, where he is likely to be discussing a possible cabinet reshuffle and a host of other issues that will be discussed. But Siddaramaiah is not in the state. The Chief Minister and Deputy DK Shivkumar both currently in Delhi. While they're in Delhi, here you have the opposition upping the ante against the Congress party in the state of Karnataka, blaming them for price rise, sharp price rise. These are visuals that came in from earlier today showing Siddaramaiah in Delhi as he just arrived to the national capital to inaugurate the Karnataka Bhavan and a big meeting that he's going to be having with Rahul Gandhi. Very important to note that you have DK Shivkumar facing rebellion within the party itself, where many of them saying they want to see a change in the Karnataka state president's place. DK Shivkumar holds the KPCC chief's post. You have many of them internally who says that they don't want him to continue. He's already had an extended tenure. They want a new face to take over as the KPCC chief. And that said, DK Shivkumar is fighting another battle. He wants to take over Siddaramaia's post as the Chief Minister of Karnataka. Siddaramaiah has already completed his 2.5 years term. A possible agreement may have happened years ago, but does that still hold? DK Shivkumar wants to take the other half of the term. Now, while all of this power tussle happens, you have the BJP protesting. And those are the images that I showed you. Protest all night at the Freedom Park. And the protest is with regards to price hike. All the way from diesel hike, Nandini milk price hike, electricity bills that have now are due to be announced, a raise of which will happen in the next few days. And then, of course, metro price hike. And then a shocker that came for Bengalurians, BBMP now wanting to impose tax on solid waste management. They're going to be basically taxing people for garbage collection. Per kg will be payable now. Of course, it was payable earlier as well, but it seems like that price has increased. And making matters worse, you have another price rise that's come up now, which is to do with parking. Parking in your private and public spaces now will be formalized, and you'll have to shell a lot more as parking tax, which will be part of your property tax annually. So clearly the BJP has every reason there to be sitting and protesting. Here you have News 9's Wajiullah, who managed to speak with the face of the opposition there. Let's hear it.
We're right now at Freedom Park, where BJP leaders have come from all sorts of, from all the districts of Karnataka to protest here. You can see all top leaders. C.T. Ravi speaking right now. You have Sri Ramalu sitting there. You have R. Ashok sitting there. You have Janardhan Reddy. You have B.S.Y. Yediyurappa. Behind him is the president of the BJP, Mr. Vijayendra. All of them have come here to protest against the price hike that are seen in the state of Karnataka. Prices of petrol, prices of milk, prices of diesel, prices have increased by 2 pounds, and that is why the BJP is protesting here, to highlight this issue that has been a problem for the general public. As you can see, everyone has a boat in their hand. One says Lutikara, Congress, Sarkara, Dikkara, Dikkara.
Narayan has also spoken. The BJP plans to scale up its agitation further with Janakroksha Yatra starting April 7th from Mysuru, to be flagged off by Union Minister Prahlad Joshi.
Joining me is Ashwath Narayan, sir, of the BJP. Sir, you all have gathered here. All your big leaders are here. Yediyurappa here, sir is here. What is the entire protest all about, sir?
It is against the price rise, misgovernance, zero development of Congress government in the state of Karnataka. All the prices, in all the verticals, in all the taxes, all utilities, the price has been increased. We want to condemn that. We want the Congress government to roll it back, and thereby being more people-friendly, people-centric. So we want them to realize it is going against the interest of people of Karnataka. We are protesting day and night to impress upon, or to call upon this Congress government to roll back the prices.
All right, there was senior BJP leader who speaks. Another big story coming in from Karnataka. Karnataka will no more have bike taxis. At least that's what the Karnataka High Court has deemed. In a big move now, brands like Rapido will face a big hit, as Karnataka has ordered to stop all bike taxi services in the next 6 weeks. Bike taxis in Karnataka have been dealt a blow. The High Court has ordered aggregators like Rapido, Uber and Ola to shut down their bike taxi services within 6 weeks' time. The companies had in fact asked the court to allow bike taxis to be recognized as transport vehicles and to push the government to set clear rules for their operations. But the court said that they are not in that jurisdiction to order the state government to make regulations of such nature. It's the government's prerogative to do or not to. But in the meanwhile, here you have the High Court deciding that bike taxis will have to stop functioning from now. Rapido had earlier been protected by an interim order that was given in 2022. Now, that led to somehow protecting the rights of bike taxis. That protection is now gone. The court has made it quite clear that bike taxis shall stop to function in 6 weeks from today. The Waqf Bill, we're looking at a massive showdown that's now unfolding in the parliament even as I speak. It's an all-nighter for parliamentarians. We're looking at multiple leaders who made their point in the parliament house. And it's very likely that the bill could be tabled, it could pass, or it could be defeated. So we're waiting for that moment to happen. But let me cut across to what's transpired in the last few hours. While you have the opposition upping the ante against the centre, claiming that this is a bid to harm the minority rights in the country, Union Home Minister Amit Shah today, slamming the opposition, said and assured that no non-Muslims will enter Waqf property. This is one of the biggest fears that minorities seem to be having, that non-Muslims will operate on Waqf properties, that they will interfere into the functioning of the Waqf properties entirely. But here Amit Shah claiming that there will not be a non-Muslim who will interfere in Waqf business. Shah clarifies that Muslims in Waqf councils and boards are only basically non-Muslims are only going to be part of the council and boards, only part of the administration process, which is clerical and nothing to do with any of the religious processes that happen within Waqf. He accused the opposition of trying to spread fear for vote bank politics. Amit Shah has also alleged rampant corruption. Waqf officials leasing properties for 100 years, he says. Amit Shah says, we've seen the kind of rampant corruption that's happened within Waqf board, and the Congress regime did nothing to solve it. So here you have Amit Shah saying this Waqf Amendment Bill will help you catch those culprits who violated Waqf guidelines for their own benefit. Listen in.
देश तोड़ दोगे आप लोग, तोड़ दोगे। हमने साहब मैं अभी भी आपके माध्यम से, इस सदन के माध्यम से देश भर के मुसलमान भाइयों बहनों को कहना चाहता हूं, आपके वक़्फ में एक भी नॉन मुस्लिम नहीं आएगा। ये एक्ट में ऐसा कोई प्रावधान नहीं। मगर जो वक़्फ बोर्ड है और वक़्फ परिषद है, उसका काम क्या है? वक़्फ की संपत्तियां मान्यवर बेच खाने वाले लोगों को पकड़कर इसके बाहर निकालने का। वक़्फ के नाम पर औने पौने दाम में संपत्तियों को 100 साल तक किराए पे देने वाले लोगों को पकड़ना है। वक़्फ का जो पैसा होता है, इनकम जो गिरती जा रही है, जिसके माध्यम से माइनॉरिटी का विकास करना है, माइनॉरिटी को आगे बढ़ाना है, इस्लाम धर्म की सारी धार्मिक संस्थाओं को पुख्ता करना है। ये पैसा जो चोरी होता है ना, उसको पकड़ने का काम वक्फ बोर्ड वक्फ परिषद करे। और मान्यवर वो चाहते हैं कि इनके राज में जो मिलीभगत चली वो चलती रहे। ये नहीं चलेगी, ये नहीं चलेगी।
All right, the debate began when you had Union Minority Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju, who tabled the bill in the Lok Sabha, calling it the outcome of the most extensive consultation process in India's parliamentary history. The bill seeks to streamline Waqf property administration, introduces tech-driven management and boosts transparency. This is the version that comes in from the centre itself as part of the bill, saying that the bill has everything to benefit the minority. The biggest change in this bill is the abolition of Section 40, which allows Waqf boards to unilaterally convert any land into Waqf property. Rijiju has called this the most draconian provision of the Waqf Act.
ये किसी का जमीन छीनने का कानून नहीं है। ये किसी का राइट, किसी का हनन करके उसका प्रॉपर्टी को हड़पने का नहीं है। राज्य सरकारों को अधिकार दिया गया है कि जो ऑलरेडी रजिस्टर्ड है उसका तो कोई डिस्प्यूट नहीं है, लेकिन जो डिस्प्यूटेड है, जो कोर्ट में पेंडिंग है, उसको हम यहाँ कानून बना के कैसे हटा सकते हैं? कोर्ट का पावर को तो हम ले नहीं सकते सर। इसीलिए यहाँ बार बार ये लोग बजा करके झूठ 100 बार भी बोलो, कुछ होने वाला नहीं है। सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल जब लाया गया था, वही लोग हैं जिन्होंने कहा था कि सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल पास होकर एक्ट बन जाएगा तो मुसलमानों का हक छिन जाएगा, उनका नागरिकता खत्म हो जाएगा। आज सीए लागू हो गया, बताइए किसी मुसलमान का अधिकार, किसी मुसलमान का नागरिकता छीना है, बताइए।
You had Congress's Gaurav Gogoi, who had hit back at the centre itself, accusing the government of trying to defame and disenfranchise the minorities. Here's his version.
इनको भ्रम फैलाना है कि वर्तमान का जो एक्ट है वो महिलाओं के खिलाफ है। इनको भ्रम फैलाना है कि वर्तमान में महिलाओं को कोई भूमिका नहीं मिलती, ये इनका काम है। लेकिन कानून में सर पहले से ही ये सारे प्रावधान है, वो चाहे किसी विधवा का संरक्षण हो या महिलाओं को और समर्थन देना हो। कोई भी कानून परफेक्ट नहीं है, माना कहीं कहीं प्रदेशों में खामियां हैं, वो चाहे केरल में हो, आंध्रा में हो, कर्नाटक में हो, पंजाब में हो, दिल्ली में हो। लेकिन सर आप चाहते हैं कि वो वक्फ बोर्ड, वक्फ ट्राइब्यूनल और अच्छी तरीके से चले, और ये चाहते हैं कि वक्फ बोर्ड वो और कमजोर हो, और इसीलिए जो रेवेन्यू वाला क्लॉज है 7% से 5% इन्होंने घटा दिया। मेरा सुझाव हमारे तरफ से ये सुझाव है कि 7% से 5% घटाने के बजाय आप 7% से 11% और इस रेवेन्यू को और इंक्रीज करिए।
And meanwhile, you had opposition TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee, who's basically echoed similar sentiments, alleging the centre itself trying to very secretively take over Waqf properties, basically insinuating that this is a covert operation by the government to target minorities.
Waqf in India, Waqf properties from the backbone of the Muslim communities, social, cultural and religious life, playing a pivotal role in maintaining their collective identity. This attempt is basically taking away the rights of the Muslim, which they have accrued. Any attempt to nullify the Supreme Court judgment by legislative process is illegal and unconstitutional. Madam, introduction of definition of the government property seems to be mischievous. Why Waqf will be allowed to define government property? This is an attempt to legalize illegal occupation or Waqf property by government organizations.
But JPC chairperson Jagdambika Pal has dismissed these concerns as appeasement politics, accused the opposition of treating Muslims as vote bank.
अखिलेश हो या कांग्रेस, वक्त पे कम बोला, उन्होंने किस तरीके से दूसरे विषयों पे बात कही है। आज ये वक्त पे साफ है कि ये लोग मुसलमानों को केवल वोट बैंक समझ करके यहाँ पे भाषण कर रहे हैं, एक तुष्टीकरण कर रहे हैं। और आज सरकार जो इस अमेंडमेंट को लेकर के आई है वो पसमानदा, गरीब या महिलाओं के वेलफेयर के लिए।
Now, BJP MP Anurag Thakur has called the bill a step towards empowerment, urging India to move past the Waqf-related fears and adopt a modern policy.
ये विधेयक नहीं, एक उम्मीद है। इस उम्मीद में एम्पावरमेंट है, एफिशिएंसी है, डेवलपमेंट है, और कहीं ना कहीं इसी को देखकर आज जहां देश भर के लोग इसके समर्थन में हैं, वक्फ को बदलने का वक्त आ गया है, क्योंकि ये अत्याचार और भ्रष्टाचार का एक ऐसा अड्डा बन गया है, उसको खत्म करने का और बदलने का समय आया है। भारत को वक्फ के खौफ से आजादी चाहिए।
All right, while that debate sparks off, you have a very interesting take from Lalu Prasad Yadav from 2010. And this, the BJP basically put out. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Samrat Chaudhary shared an old video of the RJD chief where he himself demanded stricter laws against Waqf-related encroachments. This was BJP's way of condemning the opposition, who are currently not willing to accept the Waqf Bill.
देखिए, कानून बनाना चाहिए बहुत कड़ा। सारी ज़मीनें हड़प ली गई है, चाहे सरकारी हो या गैर, उसमें जो काम करने वाले लोग हैं सब बेच दिया है। प्राइम लैंड, ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई खेती वाली ज़मीन है। पटना के डाक बंगला पर जितनी प्रॉपर्टी थी, ये सब पर अपार्टमेंट बन गया, सब लोगों ने लूट लाट किया है।
Tamil Nadu's DMK MP A. Raja has got himself into a controversy after instructing his party workers and his cadre to refrain from bearing any Hindu symbols to any DMK meets. This is what's erupted in a massive showdown, especially on social platforms, people targeting A. Raja and the BJP using this to fire at the DMK, calling them anti-Hindu. So A. Raja said and asked his party cadre to ensure that they don't wear kumkum or sacred bands while appearing for any DMK related events, because this is a part of the party's ideology. They don't believe in religion or caste. They come together as a society. They basically are a community sans any religion or community or caste differences. So this is what precisely he said that's now led to huge criticism from Hindu groups and political opponents. Tamil Nadu BJP has strongly condemned this stance and demanded action from Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. Now, in the video, A. Raja is heard addressing party workers, urging them to avoid religious identifiers to prevent confusion between DMK members and Sanghis. Precisely what he said.
ஆனால் நீங்களும் பொட்டு வச்சு சங்கியும் பொட்டு வச்சு நீங்களும் கை தட்டி சங்கியும் கை தட்டினா எவன் சங்கி எவன் அனுப்பிட்டாங்க. இதனாலதான் சொல்றேன், சாமி கும்பிடுங்க, உங்களோட தாயாருக்கும் அப்பாவும் புகுது வச்சுதான் வச்சீங்க, எல்லாம் குடிச்சிருக்க சாப்பிட்டு வச்சிருங்க, திமுக வேட்டை கட்ட உட்பட அரசு முடியும். கொள்கை இல்லாமல் போனால் அந்த அரசியல் கட்சி அழிந்துவிடும். அதை நோக்கி நடந்து கொண்டிருக்கிற ஒரு கட்சி தான் அதிமுக, எடப்பாடி பழனிசாமி.
Tamil Nadu BJP strongly opposing A. Raja's remarks, calling them divisive and offensive to Hindu traditions.
A. Raja, the other name is Accused Raja, is a political buffoon. He doesn't understand ABCD of the societal fabric, the culture. All he does is he rants. And whatever his statement made yesterday goes against what his leader M.K. Stalin has said. He said, I am an atheist, but I don't stop the believers to follow their faith, including my wife. So would he dare to say the same thing to Mrs. Stalin? Don't wear bindi, don't wear tilak, don't have anything on your hand, don't go to temples.
Alright. In Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister, has taken the delimitation discussion a step further, seeking an audience in the Prime Minister himself. Now, in the latest, M.K. Stalin has written to Prime Minister Modi over delimitation row, seeking an appointment with the Prime Minister along with members of the Parliament from various political parties across the states to discuss. In a post on the X platform, M.K. Stalin says, addressing this to Prime Minister Modi, he says, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I've requested a meeting with you alongside MPs from various parties to present our memorandum on concerns surrounding the proposed delimitation. This follows resolutions from the Joint Action Committee meeting for fair delimitation in Chennai. As previously mentioned, we urgently seek your time to convey our united stance on this critical issue for our people, awaiting your earliest response. Now, M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, had earlier written to Prime Minister on 27th of March requesting an appointment. In his letter, Stalin stated he wished to meet the Prime Minister and MPs to basically put forth that memorandum that was drawn out as part of the all-party meeting that happened in Chennai recently, where we saw almost all opposition leaders coming together to be part of that very important meeting on delimitation, where they had also passed a resolution against delimitation in most of the southern states. Cutting across, Kunal Kamra, who comes out with another satire, and this time to apologize to his audience who were part of his event. Comedian Kunal Kamra apologizes to his fans after reports surfaced that audience members from his recent stand-up show were being served police notices. The show, not at the center of a political controversy that's now currently in the heat of that storm, has led to multiple FIRs. Kunal Kamra himself faces multiple FIRs, multiple defamations because he made the satirical remark against Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde without taking his name. Now, a banker from Navi Mumbai who attended the show was summoned by the police as a witness. Reacting to this, Kamra took to X, saying, I'm deeply sorry for the inconvenience that caused to you for attending my show. Now, this is what Kamra wrote, sharing a news article about the banker who had to cut short his trip due to this notice. He further said, please email me so that I can reschedule your next vacation anywhere that you'd like to go in India. Despite the legal heat, Kunal Kamra has refused to apologize for his performance to the police, before the police, or basically to the Shiv Sena of the Shinde camp. He refuses to apologize, saying he's done nothing wrong. His latest stand-up, the Naya Bharat, has already crossed 12 million views on YouTube. Meanwhile, Mumbai police has now issued a third summons to Kunal Kamra to appear for questioning on April 5th. Remember, he's already skipped 2 previous notices. Right, the army has killed nearly 4 to 5 infiltrators in retaliatory firing after Pakistan army intruded into Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. So here we hear Pakistan tried to infiltrate into Indian areas. The Indian army said the infiltration attempt itself in the Krishna Ghati area of Poonch district was successfully foiled. Pakistani soldiers and infiltrators reportedly opened fire, prompting retaliation by the Indian army. Sources say that Pakistani side suffered heavy casualties. This is the first time in recent months that the army has confirmed the ceasefire violation by Pakistan. Similar cross-firing incidents were also reported in Krishna Ghati sector earlier in Feb this year. The Indian army stated that there was no loss of life or property on its side. The firing continued intermittently throughout the day today, and the Indian army remains fully deployed in the Krishna Ghati area. Now, this was basically unprovoked firing we hear and ceasefire violation by the Indian army. Indian troops have responded effectively. Situation is said to be under control. All right, the White House is all set to impose sweeping tariffs. Will India be affected? A 20% tax on most imported goods entering the United States. In fact, Donald Trump is set now to announce those tariffs. Experts warn this could trigger global trade war. What's in it for India?
With US President Donald Trump due to impose sweeping new reciprocal tariffs on global trading partners on Wednesday, decades of rules-based trade look set to be upended. This could lead to cost increases and will likely draw retaliation from all sides. The new duties are set to take effect immediately. Here are some of the sectors impacted by US tariffs. Trump has suggested tariffs on pharmaceutical supplies, including medications. That would be a major change. Over the last few decades, pharmaceuticals have generally been exempt from tariffs. Trump in March threatened to put a 200% tariff on wine, cognac, and other alcohol imports from Europe. That was in response to an EU plan to impose tariffs on American whiskey and other products. The US leader has said tariffs on semiconductor chips would also start at 25% or higher and rise substantially over the course of a year, but he hasn't yet clarified when these will come into effect. On March the 12th, Trump increased tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports to 25% and extended the duties to hundreds of downstream products. The US is the world's largest aluminum importer and the second largest steel importer. More than half of those volumes come from Canada, Mexico and Brazil. At the end of March, Trump unveiled a 25% tariff on imported cars and light trucks. The levy is to be imposed on top of previous duties on imports of finished vehicles, starting on April the 3rd.
All right, well, we're going to wait and watch on what impact this has for India. Donald Trump claims that India has decided to reduce tariffs on US goods, therefore they will be kinder on India. We've got to wait and watch. Tomorrow is the big day. Meanwhile, Wisconsin voters in the United States have elected Susan Crawford to the state Supreme Court, keeping the court's 4-3 liberal majority intact. Her victory is now seen as a big setback for President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk, who had backed her conservative opponent.
Wisconsin voters elected Susan Crawford to the state Supreme Court on Tuesday, dealing a blow to President Donald Trump and his billionaire ally Elon Musk, who had poured millions of dollars into the race to defeat her.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin. And we won. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale.
The election was widely seen as an early referendum on Trump's presidency, with abortion rights, labor rights, and election rules all potentially in the balance. Crawford's win maintains the court's 4-3 liberal majority. While the race was technically nonpartisan, Trump endorsed Crawford's conservative rival Brad Schimmel, and state Democrats and Republicans lined up behind their preferred candidate. Crawford's campaign received a boost from billionaire Democratic megadonors, including philanthropist George Soros. All in all, more than $1 billion has been spent by the candidates, the state parties, and outside groups, easily making it the most expensive judicial contest in U.S. history. That includes more than $21 million spent by Musk and political groups with ties to him. The Tesla CEO went as far as to say that the, quote, future of Western civilization was at stake in the election. He said Wisconsin's Supreme Court may potentially rule on redress, which could tip the balance between Republicans and Democrats in a closely divided U.S. House of Representatives, affecting Trump's ability to govern. Democrats were keen to highlight Musk's involvement, with Crawford supporters emphasizing that Musk may have a personal stake in the outcome. Tesla sued the state in January over a law barring car manufacturers from opening dealerships, a case that could eventually come before the state's top court. Musk did not respond to a request for comment about accusations he had a personal interest in the election's outcome.
Right now, we're looking at Israel, who's announced major expansion of its military operations into Gaza. Now, they've stated that large areas of enclave will be seized and incorporated into its security zones. The move comes with large-scale evacuations of the population. Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz confirmed that evacuations will take place in conflict zones. He stated that military action aims to clear out militants and infrastructure while expanding Israel's security zones. Israeli forces have already issued evacuation warnings in southern Gaza, with reports indicating that areas around Rafah are nearly empty. Reports reveal Israel has taken control of approximately 17% of Gaza's land as part of its buffer zone strategy. All right, we're looking at China stepping up its military drills near Taiwan, carrying out long-range live-fire exercises in the East China Sea. The drills focused on hitting port and energy facilities, but Beijing hasn't revealed the exact location of this drill. Let's have a look at this big war feelers that China is giving out.
China escalated its military drills around Taiwan on Wednesday. It held long-range live-fire drills in the East China Sea. The exercises involved precision strikes on simulated targets of key ports and energy facilities, according to China's Eastern Theater Command. China gave a codename for the first time to its war games, which started Tuesday, Straight Thunder 2025A. State media CCTV said the exercises are a, quote, strong warning and a strong deterrent to the separatist forces of Taiwan independence. Chinese rhetoric has been building up against Taiwan President Lai Ching-te, who won the election last year and who rejects Beijing's sovereignty claims over Taiwan. The war games come after U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's Asia visit, during which he repeatedly criticized Beijing. The United States, which remains Taiwan's most important international backer and main arms supplier despite the lack of formal diplomatic ties, condemned China's exercises on Tuesday. In a statement, the U.S. State Department said China's aggressive military activities and rhetoric toward Taiwan only serve to exacerbate tensions and put the region's security and the world's prosperity at risk. Japan and the European Union also expressed concern. While the Taiwan government has denounced China for holding the drills, for most Taiwanese it's just another normal day. Taiwan has been under threat of Chinese invasion since 1949. Though Chen Yifan, an assistant professor of diplomacy and international relations at Taiwan's Tamkang University, says Taiwanese should be more aware of the threats coming from the mainland.
I think as a Taiwanese people, we have to worry about this because right now it's like, we are in the water pot. and they are boiling the water gradually, step by step. But the problem right now is because the administration here in Taiwan, they are actually emphasizing they are trying their best to monitor all the situation. They do not really reveal all the reality to the public. So this is why also the public, we do not know why we should worry about the situation, because we don't have the sufficient information and transparency about the reality of the battleground.
Chen says China's drills may work in favor of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which may use the crisis to rally local support ahead of domestic elections next year.
All right, on that note, I'm slipping into a short break. We're coming back with our deep dive segment to start off with parking fee that now will be imposed on Bengalurians by the BBMP, not just for public spaces, but also for your private spaces. Stay with us.
What does it take to be the greatest in the world? There is one thing which truly sets you apart. Your inner strength. Sodium TNT Reebok, true inner strength.
In the age of OTT platforms, to watch or not to watch, that's the question. Because you are what you watch. It's our review, but your choice to skip it or stream it. Hello and welcome. I'm Krishna Kumar. This is Skip It, Stream It. Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers, the Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
Parking woes. Bengalurians now are all set to shell more for parking, not just in public spaces, but also in their private spaces. This has come as a rude shock. Owning a house or an apartment in Bengaluru was once considered a blessing, but this notion may no more hold good, as it seems like living in the city itself has become expensive. Now you have parking tax that will be imposed annually. A revised parking tax structure has come into effect from April 1st in Bengaluru. The BBMP has recently revised the property tax structure for covered and still parking areas in Bengaluru. This means now that all individuals will have to pay parking fee per square feet cost has been imposed, and that's going to be part of your property tax.
I don't understand the logic of it. Now here, this is what you see here is my parking slot, okay, on which I am already paying a property tax. It is when the khata was prepared, my property tax was based on the super built-up area, and to that they added 125 into 2 square feet, okay, to cover the 2 parking slots that I own here. So, and on that I am paying an annual property tax. So now where is this additional? So my car is parked here. This is my property. I am parking my car on. So what business do they have to charge me for that? I don't understand this at all.
Pertinent questions that's on the minds of every person living in Bengaluru right now. This change affects both residential and commercial properties and may have financial implications for property owners. The decision has sparked concerns among the public who fear the new parking tax could be higher than current rates, while officials claim the revision will lead to a reduction in overall tax liability. Previously, parking tax accounted for 50% of the total property tax for residential units, but with the new revised parking tax, charges are set to benefit shopping malls, which previously paid up to 8 per parking slot, but will now have to pay only 3 per slot. Now, on the other hand, independent houses and apartments who have declared parking spaces would have to shell out more tax. Here's how the parking tax calculations work with this. 20% of the UAV into area is 10 months for residential property and 25% for commercial property. There you have it. 600 per year is precisely how much you'd pay for one parking spot in a residential area. In commercial property, commercial spaces, you'll pay 900 per year per parking slot. So how does this work, and how will this really help Bengaluru's traffic woes, or does it help at all? Joining me to discuss this is Vivek Menon, civic expert and former advisor to the Chief Minister of Karnataka. We also have Katyayani Chamaraj, Executive Trustee, Civic Bangalore, Karnataka. Over to you, Vivek. You've been integral in shaping Bengaluru's infrastructure on many levels. Do we need parking tax? And what do you think is the BBMP's intention? For us as common citizens, we'd look at this as a burden to make some extra buck. I don't know where that extra buck is going. But what's the purpose of taxing people in their private spaces?
The proliferation of cars in Bangalore has obviously created a huge problem in terms of parking. And I think none of us are new to that problem. I think the way the BBMP has gone about it is probably not the right way. And I think, of course, when you look at the pros of basically charging for parking, you're looking at obviously revenue generation. And apparently the BBMP does say that they're going to generate 180 crores out of this whole parking thing that they have. Obviously, Bangalore's streets, unfortunately, are mismanaged when it comes to parking, and we really haven't found a solution to it. In fact, not too long ago, they started charging for parking on Brigade Road, and that really helped. But today, that whole system has fallen apart. So I don't think the BBMP a good way of managing this whole parking problem. Now, when it comes to private buildings themselves, in fact, the bigger challenge that we had was that most private buildings that had to provide parking have not provided parking. And so we have fewer spaces now within private buildings for, visitor parking and for others. And you have more roadside parking right now. And I think the problem of roadside parking is only going to compound itself as we sell more cars and create a larger problem. Now, of course, we are trying to, over the past several decades, trying to encourage the use of public transportation. And of course, with the metro that is fully functional right now, we are finding a lot of people gravitating towards that. And of course, congestion pricing within the urban metros itself is a good thing. So all in all, making sure that we charge for parking in spaces that are public is well and good. But when you move into the private realm and you say that I'm going to charge you for parking within your own premises, I think that's where the problem really compounds itself. And I think the BBMP really needs to take a good look at it, because yes, like one of the speakers said before, today when you look at it, you are already paying taxes for your building itself with the UAV and with whether it's a commercial premises or a residential premises. So I think trying to move into the private space of a citizen and charge for parking is probably misplaced. But I do feel, Nabila, that on streets, especially private streets or public streets within neighborhoods, we have to somehow find a solution to the parking menace that we have today. Of course, on the cons, there's obviously potential for mismanagement, and I think that's something that maybe needs to be tackled. And I think, enforcement is going to be a huge challenge, and I'm not necessarily convinced that the BBMP has a solution to that.
No, when you say enforcement of what? Of better parking? People are not going to sell off their cars because of this tax imposed. They're going to endure this tax and and use their cars and buy more cars. Do you think this is the right way to discipline them?
Yes, but at the same time, if you look at a lot of the streets, about 5 years ago, the BBMP did try to, enforce, obviously a charge for parking on our streets, and it worked well. If you look at Brigade Road, if you look at MG Road, you look at Church Street, even when we designed Tendershore roads, we did provide parking within that. But of course, at the end of the day, St. Mark's Road today, there was a parking app that one could use, and it worked very well, because most people would otherwise just park their cars and walk away. So I think you do need to charge for it, because if you look at most of the congested cities in the world, you look at Boston, you look at Chicago, you look at places like that, where every street parking spot is actually charged for, and it's not cheap. They charge you $1.50, $2 per hour.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so,
I know parking is expensive, but those are public spaces, even in private.
Yes. So no, in private, so charging for private spaces is where the problem really comes, and I think I highlighted that earlier on. Because at the end of the day, you're already paying your property taxes. So I think burdening the taxpayer, the property taxpayer, with an additional tax on it, I think is misplaced. I might say this. I have 5 car parks in my own basement.
Yeah.
Now I've provided that so that people do not park on the street. But if you're going to charge me, at 900 rupees per car park, and 4,500 rupees extra, then that's actually taxing someone who's actually providing an amenity and taking street parking off. So I think, the BBMP really needs to look at that, take a good look at
absolutely.
that.
So then the intention of taxing private spaces seems completely misplaced. Katyayani, how would you view this? Bengalurans are furious.
This is going to affect only those private vehicle owners. So I think that are very, I'm sorry, they are very sorry about it.
No worries, you can fix your connection.
Yeah, they are already pampered. We have no congestion tax, and we don't, unless we bring that in, people are not going to shift to public transport. So what we need is congestion tax. And like Mr. Menon said, 5 years ago, a parking policy was developed but never implemented. Why? Because when I walk on the street near my house, I find Mercedes cars parked on the pavement because the building has failed to provide a parking place within the building. So I think the more important thing is to impose a congestion tax and then to penalize people who are parking on the road because, or on the pavement because they have failed to provide space within the building. And even if you have to pay 600 rupees per year for a parking slot that you have within your compound, it's too much for a private vehicle owner to be paying.
Yeah, but it's not too much, but we're only looking at the compounding, budget. You hardly have.
You're saying that the commercial parking place is going to be charged less. Why? If it's a commercial area and they're making a lot of profit, why should that cost be reduced? And only for
what I'm saying, and I'm not debating the commercial areas. I'm talking about private areas. Basically, even if I'm a car owner and I'm paying 600 annually, it might not seem so much. But the fact is that there is price rise on every aspect of daily life now in Karnataka. You have diesel prices up, you have milk prices up, metro prices up. We heard now a garbage collection tax on that. So while you have this compounding expenditure, then this is a lot. It sums up to a lot. A final word, Vivek, if you can give me a sense on how the BBMP could better deal with it.
May I just add?
Yeah, ma'am.
May I just add that this is a way of, imposing a kind of wealth tax. So I don't think we should worry too much about it.
Okay, not wrong, Vivek.
So Nabila, I think, the BBMP, imposing a tax on public spaces, on, roadside parking, I think that's fair. It's equitable. It needs to be done just because otherwise you have very haphazard parking across streets. And I think in residential neighborhoods, it does get to be a problem. I live in the neighborhood of Cooktown, and interestingly, ITC, which is a huge, employer out there, is one of the biggest perpetrators because they have not provided any kind of parking for any of their taxis that come and pick up their people, and it's spread out onto a residential neighborhood like Cooktown. So I think, in a sense, if you can impose parking within your premises itself, and for large companies, this should be a mandatory aspect of it. Now, when you come to private houses, I think there has to be some amount of leniency. I don't think, for a person who's providing a service and providing, a car park within their premises itself, should not be penalized. But somebody who's parking on the street side should pay up for that. And I think, if there's a dynamic pricing model that they can come up with, probably even a Park You app, which they had, which did not work out too well.
From the intention, if this is to decongest Bengaluru roads, then might as well levy a restriction: one person or one family can own only 2 cars or only 1 car. There are mandates like this in other countries, I hear.
Yeah, I think that might be a little difficult to do, especially in a city like Bangalore, where obviously with an upwardly mobile middle class that flaunts its cars and considers it a prestige symbol. I think it'll be very difficult to kind of mandate that you buy just 1 car.
Correct.
Or
Katyayani, final word from you.
Yes, people, because there is no disincentive to not own private cars or to take public transport, people are buying more and more cars, and that is, I think, if you impose this tax, that may work as a disincentive to buy more cars.
Okay,
so
let's just hope it serves the purpose. If that's the purpose, let's hope it serves the purpose. I definitely want to see easy traffic on Bengaluru roads. Thanks very much, both of you, for joining us.
Thanks, Nabila. Appreciate it.
Shifting our focus here to a security guard who was beaten up in Maharashtra because he did not speak Marathi. These kind of cases now increasingly reported in different parts of the country, Maharashtra, Karnataka to be the hot spots. Security guard at L&T in Powai, Mumbai was slapped by MNS workers. These are workers of a political party because he did not know Marathi. Take a look at this video. Not the first time language politics have made headlines in Maharashtra. A similar incident occurred recently at the D-Mart store in Warsaw as well, where an employee was reportedly attacked for refusing to speak Marathi.
मैं तू मराठी का नाही बोलत आधी मराठी बोलतो नंतर हिंदी बोलतो हा काय नियम है नियम काय है हिंदी आता तुमको हिंदी नहीं तो फिर मुझे तकलीफ है तकलीफ क्या मतलब क्या दिक्कत क्या मतलब मराठी आता मेरे को नहीं आता मराठी क्या करेगा फिर क्यों नहीं आता क्या करेगा तो मराठी में क्या करेगा क्या करेगा मतलब क्या करेगा फिर मराठी में क्या करेगा.
Right, Rennie Abraham, senior journalist, joins me along with B.S. Arun, senior journalist too. Both of you, Rennie, to start with, what and why does this happen? Should we make laws and rules in place to ensure something like this is controlled, and if a 3-language policy could maybe benefit workers who are moving into areas like Maharashtra or Karnataka, Bengaluru, hotspot for migrant workers, maybe a rule should be in place that you must learn Kannada or must learn Marathi. If not, you will not get a job. If there's no mandate like that, then this harassment should be pulled up.
Well, Nabila, to answer it simply, the fact of the matter is basic courtesies are missing in a civilized urban center like Mumbai, and Mumbai particularly being touted as the next international financial service center of the world. So the fact of the matter still is that in this current instance that is being cited on merits, it seems like the first pejorative utterance was made by this particular security guard who used a colloquial term and said Marathi gayi te lagane. So that apparently seems to have provoked a serious backlash, following which senior leaders from the local region of the Manse, of the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, converged on the scene. They have found the issue that they need, particularly in the run-up to the Brihan Mumbai municipal civic elections that are due in Mumbai. So this is more of politics, I suspect, that is provoking and giving an impetus to this issues of targeting North Indian migrant labor into Mumbai city. So having said that, it is very common, as you see even in Karnataka, where the Ram Sene and these kind of groups find a voice in the political sphere. So we must remember one thing, that the MNS itself came into being as a political force in Maharashtra, which was already overloaded with parties like the Congress, the NCP, the Shiv Sena, from which in fact the MNS leader Raj Thackeray had moved out. So typically for setting up a new political establishment, he felt the need to find a niche area that would be his flagship project.
That's his claim to fame, but really MNS, it's done here is illegal. So should there be laws against this? I don't even know if there could be a separate law for assault. You already have a law that very clearly categorizes an attack like this as assault, so that guard can really pull up those MNS members, but because they have political affiliations, usually they're let off. B.S. Arun, a quick word from you and a final one on what can be done. Is there a way that migrants can feel safe? Learning the language is obviously the best way forward, but any other way to protect their rights?
Well, laws may not have much bearing in this context, because the past experience has shown that that won't hold much sway. But the thing is, the people have to not use force, not use violence on issues like this. Of course, the migrants should have sort of respect for the local language, for the local culture. That's very important. They should know that they have come to a different state for livelihood. And first thing is to respect the language. They may not know the language, that's fine. But then there is nothing wrong in respecting that language. Instead of asserting that I don't know this language, I don't know that language, I won't speak that language, do what you want. That is not the kind of attitude that one expects. But having said that, nobody should take law into their own hands. Like this has happened, as you mentioned, in many cities, and the government will have to, make these the owners of these companies understand that the employees of these companies should have some sort of respect for the local language and local culture. Otherwise, things like this, I think, will continue. Having said that, even assertions like it happened in the DMart case, where an employee used, I think, words that nobody would tolerate to be used against the local language. I think that kind of things should not be used. In Karnataka, it has happened, no doubt about that. But then, again, respect for local language is important.
No, it's important, but then these goons have political support, so they get away. But this is not the way to force someone to speak the language. You command respect, you don't demand it. But what happened here is illegal. Well, let's hope those MNS members are pulled up for this.
Totally wrong. Violence is totally wrong.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, as we're short on time, Rene and B.S. Arun, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, a quick look at our viral story here. Of course, this is a scene from a film, looks exactly like that. The Indian Navy's frontline frigate, Tarkash, has managed to seize 2,500 kgs of narcotics. The operation to seize the narcotics was launched after the Navy received inputs on suspicious movements of some vessels. And these images are now viral on social platforms, hailing the Indian Navy for their recovery that includes 2,386 kgs of hashish and 121 kgs of heroin, all stored in different cargo holds and compartments on board the vessel. All right, kudos to our Navy for the big feat. It's a wrap for me right here on Unmissable. Thanks very much for joining me. Stay with us, same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great night.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News 9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News 9's pick of the week, don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News 9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
In the age of OTT platforms, to watch or not to watch? That's the question. Because you are what you watch. It's our review, but your choice to skip it or stream it. Hello and welcome. I'm Krishna Kumar. This is Skip It, Stream It.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
New Waqf regime is a fact now. Indian Waqf system is all set to embrace the new system of management. Politicians have had their fill in Lok Sabha. Many have spoken in favor of the bill, many against it. Bottom line is that reform is taking place and soon it will impact a system that had stayed moribund for ages. Now, before I get into the details, let me take out the important bites of the day on this bill, starting from Minority Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju.
दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हिंदुस्तान में है, तो फिर ये क्यों है 60 साल तक आप सरकार में रहे हैं, हमारे देश में मुसलमान इतना गरीब क्यों है? जब दुनिया का सबसे ज्यादा वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हमारा देश में है, तो हमारा गरीब मुसलमानों का पढ़ाई के लिए, मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, स्किलिंग के लिए, इनकम जनरेशन के लिए क्यों काम नहीं हुआ आज तक बताइए? तो उस प्रॉपर्टी से गरीबों का उत्थान के लिए, लोगों का भला के लिए अगर ये सरकार नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में गरीब मुसलमानों के लिए काम कर रहा है, तो इसमें आपत्ति क्यों होना चाहिए? आप लोग बताइए।
इस सरकार का इस बिल के द्वारा 4 इनके मूल उद्देश्य। पहला मूल उद्देश्य है कि संविधान को कमजोर करना, टू डाइल्यूट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। इनका दूसरा उद्देश्य है भ्रम फैलाना, टू डिफेम द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज ऑफ इंडिया। इनका तीसरा उद्देश्य है टू डिवाइड द इंडियन सोसाइटी। हमेशा एक हमारे बीच में एक लिटिगेशन चलता रहे, मसला और बढ़ता जाए, ये उनका उद्देश्य है। और चौथा इनका उद्देश्य डाइल्यूट, डिफेम, डिवाइड, और चौथा इनका उद्देश्य है टू डिसएनफ्रेंचाइज द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज।
संविधान की धारा 15 के आलोक में इस बिल में इस बात का प्रावधान किया जा रहा है कि पिछड़े मुसलमानों को भी वक्फ में जगह दी जाएगी। उनको जगह दी जाएगी तो परेशानी क्यों है इनको? कि संविधान की दुहाई का जवाब मैं संविधान से ही दे रहा हूं। ये वक्फ में जो संशोधन हो रहा है वो मौलिक अधिकार की धारा 15 में उसकी अनुमति मिलती है। तो अगर वक्फ की जमीन बर्बाद हो रही है, अगर वक्फ की जमीन लूटी जा रही है, अगर वक्फ की जमीन हड़पी जा रही है, तो संविधान की धारा 25 ये अधिकार देता है कि कानून बन सकता है।
ये पूरा झगड़ा जो चल रहा है, आपने नॉन हिंदू को रख दिया और नॉन मुस्लिम को रख दिया, गैर मुस्लिम को रखा। वो झगड़ा वक्फ में दखल करने का है। पहले तो वक्फ में कोई गैर इस्लामिक सदस्य आएगा ही नहीं, ये स्पष्टता समझ लीजिए। ना